We live? We going? We rolling? What's up, everybody? Here, Russell Fawcett with the Stern Team back for another Stern Team Insight. Today, I am with our newest agent on the team, not the newest agent in the industry, Adrian Mako. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so we're going to dive into it, and you probably can teach me how to do this because, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a podcast, right?
I do have a podcast called
Okay.
Mindset with Mako.
Mindset with Mako. So I want to dive into that first.
Cool.
Tell me about it.
So I started this podcast because I'm a big mindset guy, right? So I wanted to create something that was like a creative outlet for me, but that it could also benefit other people. So my podcast, Mindset with Mako, is a play on my last name, but it basically dives into the mindset of, business owners, influential people of interest, and basically tell their story and dive deeper into their mind, not just like the surface level stuff that we all post on social media, like accomplishments, things like that. I like to get into like the real like vulnerability of like their story and what has helped shape their mindset.
Okay. Yeah. So by running that, what's one of your biggest takeaways or ahas that you've pulled from it?
I think it's that I would say the biggest thing is that I've enjoyed the most is hearing about people's struggle and failures and then able to still like surpass that and succeed. Like I feel like a lot of people, every person that I've had on my podcast, the common trend is I wanted to do something or I had some type of goal and there was always obstacles in between or ups and downs. But then at the end, they were able to succeed at whatever they were trying to do. So I think a story of perseverance and determination is what I have been able to take from the most. And I've had like different types of people. I've had like a couple who was trying to get pregnant for like 3 years through IVF. I've had really successful business owners. I've had just different walks of life, but that's kind of the common theme there.
Okay, so is there a common theme of what got them through? Like they were able to persevere. Is there a common theme, or is everyone different?
Well, everyone's story is a little different, but yeah, I mean, I would say the common thing is they didn't give up. They didn't quit. They knew what they wanted to accomplish, whether it was getting pregnant or whether it was starting a business or becoming an entrepreneur, and they stuck to it. They didn't quit. And what do they say? You only fail if you quit. Right. So
yeah, and that's been one for me. Like honestly, one of the biggest ahas this year that I've had in researching people that have been successful is just that they didn't quit. Like it wasn't so much of they were super, super intelligent. It wasn't, a lot of them are networked or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, the biggest thing was they didn't quit. They didn't give up.
Yep.
I think maybe we should give up, but that's on certain things that where maybe we're sacrificing things that we shouldn't sacrifice, right? But as far as being successful and accomplishing something, if you do it long enough, you're probably going to succeed.
Yeah, a lot of the times the people who are the most successful aren't the most talented, aren't the smartest, they're just the hardest workers.
Right. Okay, so let's jump a little bit. So we are in real estate. Why real estate for you?
Well, I originally started real estate. I have a big background of sales. So I came from phone sales. I would sell credit repair on the phone. That was my introduction to sales. And then I realized I'm a really good communicator. I have good communication skills and I know how to build a connection with people. But I did have a desire to want to sell something bigger. Okay. And so I thought maybe it was software sales for a while. I didn't really get into that, but kind of looked at different avenues. My buddy did real estate at the time part-time, and so I figured I can try to dive into this. I was working at a startup company before, and so I didn't really have anything holding me back from going into it. But that's why I got into real estate. But I think that another question that I would like to answer is why I stayed in real estate is because of my passion for helping people. I really do always look out for my client's best interest. And so the idea of being a fiduciary or representative to someone through such a big transaction and in a sense protect them from making bad decisions or the wrong decision for themselves is something that I'm passionate about. I want to guide these people, to educate them and help them make the best financial decision possible for them and their family. And that's where I feel a sense of accomplishment.
Okay, and why do you get fulfillment from that?
I think it's because I've had so many people help me along the way that I feel like anything that you've accomplished in your life, you didn't really do it alone. I know I haven't. I've had coaches, I've had mentors, I've had people who believed in me and held my hand through it. So I'm passionate about doing the same with others. And sometimes that's buying a house, sometimes that's having a difficult conversation, whatever it may be, whether it's professionally or in my personal life. I always try to give back and just help people in any way that I can.
Okay, and there's lots of aspects to real estate, right? What's your favorite part of it?
My favorite part of real estate is contract work and negotiations.
Okay, how so?
I know my contracts really well.
Okay.
I pride myself in that, and it's because I've studied them, and so contract law is something that's really intriguing to me, and it kind of plays into negotiating. You can't really negotiate to your client's best interest or to the fullest if you don't understand your contracts, because then it's almost like you've got all these tools but you don't know how to use half of them because you don't understand them, right? So I feel like the reason why I'm a good negotiator is because I am very direct, I'm very firm, strategic about it, always looking out for my client's best interest, but I also understand the tool belt that I have on the contracts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think in negotiations, it's a matter of knowing when to kind of give, right?
Mm-hmm.
When to be like, no, like, yeah, we'll throw that in, and when to be, kind of really
Stern.
dig in.
Yeah,
Stern.
it's a give and take. One line I use a lot with agents, especially when I know you can kind of feel when there's a newer agent or less experienced agent on the other end. I like to say, just remember, ma'am, we're deal makers, not deal breakers.
Right.
Because a lot of agents will put their own emotions into the transaction, and it just doesn't help. Right. It's like, let's try to make a deal here. We're not against each other. We each have our own clients. We have our clients' best interest, but we're working here towards a common goal.
Right.
I feel like a lot of agents think we're like working against each other, or it's like a fight. It's like, no, we can negotiate and be firm, represent our own client, but we're on the same team here.
Right. Well, and at the end of the day, I really do think real estate is a situation in negotiations where you can create win-wins.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, yes, if you want to make the point of, hey, I got it all, someone in that transaction probably is not going to feel good about it, which at the end of the day, we do want to make sure our clients are happy with it. There's a ton of emotion on the buyer and seller side, right? And so if we get emotional as agents as well, as opposed to being like, hey, like, what do we need to do?
Right.
Figure out what are the deal breakers, what are things we're willing to concede on, and just really communicate back and forth. At the end of the day, people are going to be happy all around, and so that's definitely something that I strive for in the negotiations as well.
I agree.
Okay, so you've been, pretty successful in real estate. Been in the top 500. How many years in a row? 4 years in a row.
Knock on wood.
Okay. So, like, you've been successful. Why partner with the Stern team? What was it, honestly, about our team that made you decide, okay, I want to be a part of this?
So the biggest thing was I felt like the team that I was on had kind of run its course. I've been there for 3 years. I've grown so much on that previous team. And so the initial thing was it's time for me to grow again, right? And it's time for me to get uncomfortable again and learn how to run a business in a different way. I don't like to compare my previous team to the Stern team because they're just different teams. Right. No, one isn't better than the other. They're just different. So I felt the Stern team was more aligned with the long-term business that I want to be running. I felt like you guys have the tools and the systems and in place to help me build what I want my future business to look like. And that meant getting uncomfortable. That meant taking a little bit of a risk, making a change, which can be nervous, but at the same time, I'm one who's very adaptable. I've always been very think on my feet, kind of go with the flow kind of guy for my entire life, which has served me, but it's also not served me because I'm not very good with systems. So that's what I'm here to learn how to run a very systematized business to keep feeding my business for years to come, not just the next few months.
Yeah. And I think you said it really well, right? As far as like things are different. It's kind of one of those, what got you here won't get you there.
Right.
And sometimes it is just a tweak of environment, tweak of, as far as a different system. I've even, had clients that, I'll be honest, maybe we weren't successful. And at the end of the day, it's kind of like, okay, I did all the marketing I can. I pushed your house to my database. At this point, like, let's go get into someone else's database, hire another agent. Like, and I'm
Sure.
not too, I guess, prideful to admit when it's like, okay, I've done everything that I can. And even when agents leave, our team, at the end of the day, like, it's like, no, they've got what they need and they're ready to do something different. It's
Right.
And like you said, it's not necessarily better, it's just different, and allows you different resources to help you take another step in life, right?
Different connections, different resources.
And so, no, we're super, super excited to have you on our team. You bring a lot of experience, and I know that we're going to learn from you as much as you're going to learn from us, right? At the end of the day, so let's go ahead. I mean, let's wrap up with, what do you bring to your clients that makes you different than someone else?
I would say two things. I'm very, very focused on their why. I need to know whether it's buying or selling, why. And not just because we want a new house, or not just because, it's the right thing to do to buy a house, right? There has to be a deeper reason. So I'm really good at going deep with my clients and getting down to the very root of their motivation, because then that helps me do my job better. Because now I understand this isn't just a transaction. This isn't just about the bottom line or the money. This is about your why. And so if I can know what the why is and respect that why and honor that why, I feel like that's why me and my clients feel so connected, is because it's not just a surface level transaction. Now, mind you, not every client I work with, we become best friends, but in that time that we do spend together, we get real vulnerable and we get close, and I get to know the why as to the motivation of wanting to buy or sell or invest. And then the second thing that kind of ties into that, I am obsessively detail oriented. From my contract work to my listing prep to my communication, I don't assume things, I don't overlook things, I'm not sloppy about anything. So and that ties into the why, because I know your why. So I'm not gonna, for lack of a better term, half-ass the contract work or half-ass the listing or do anything that's not at 100% because it doesn't honor your why. So that's why I feel makes me stand out with me and my clients. Aside from all the other, generic answers,
Right.
like market knowledge, experience, negotiate. I've got all that, but those are like what help me stand out.
Cool. Well, Adrian, thank you. Adrian Mako,
Thank you,
to the world. Adrian, welcome to the Stern team. So happy to be in business with you.
Appreciate you guys.
Cut. We're done. Off.